The wedding planner called to confirm the final payment, and I realized I'd been looking at the credit card statement for 10 minutes. Staring at the charge from a hotel in Vancouver the same weekend, she told me she was at her sister's place in Spokane. Hey friends, please subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video, and leave a comment with your impressions. This will be a great help. Thank you. We never tire of reminding you. It's all thanks to you. It was early March in Minneapolis, and the snow was finally starting to melt. I'm 37. Been working as an operations manager for a manufacturing plant in the suburbs for the last 6 years. My fiancée Rachel was 35, a senior accountant at a firm downtown. We'd been together for 3.5 years, engaged for 8 months. The wedding was set for late June, already paid for, already planned down to the centerpieces and the song list. That Thursday morning started normal enough. I was up at 6, made coffee, checked my emails while Rachel got ready for work. She came into the kitchen wearing a charcoal suit I hadn't seen before, hair pulled back, makeup perfect. She looked good. I told her so. She smiled, kissed my cheek, said she had an early meeting with a new client and would probably be home late. I asked what time. She said maybe 8 or 9. She wasn't sure. The client was demanding and they were trying to land a big contract. I said okay. I'd grab dinner on my own. She left at 7:15. I watched her car pull out of the driveway of our townhouse in Edina, the one we'd bought together 2 years ago, both our names on the mortgage. Work was the usual chaos. Supply chain issues, a delayed shipment from Ohio, 2 machines down on the floor. I spent most of the day putting out fires and didn't think about Rachel until almost 6 when I was driving home. I stopped at a Thai place near the house, picked up pad CEW and spring rolls, ate them standing at the kitchen counter while I went through the mail. That's when I saw the credit card statement. We had a joint card we used for household stuff and wedding expenses. I usually just paid it online without looking too closely, but this month something made me flip through the pages. There were the usual charges, Target, gas stations, the bakery deposit for the wedding cake. Then I saw it. The Fairmont Hotel Vancouver. $463. March 7th through 9th. I stood there with a spring roll halfway to my mouth. March 7th was 2 weeks ago. Rachel had told me she was going to Spokane that weekend to help her sister with something. Her sister Kelly was going through a divorce, had 2 little kids, needed support. Rachel had left Friday afternoon, come back Sunday evening, seemed tired but fine. I remembered because I'd offered to come with her and she'd said no. It was just going to be her helping Kelly pack up some stuff and keep the kids entertained, not really a situation where an extra person would help. I set the spring roll down, pulled out my phone, opened Google Maps. Vancouver to Spokane, about 6 hours apart. Not close. Different countries, even. I went back to the statement. The charge was definitely Vancouver. Hotel, not airline. I checked our joint checking account on my phone. No unusual charges there. I looked at the credit card again. Just the hotel. I sat down at the kitchen table. My brain was doing that thing where it tries to find innocent explanations. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone stole the card number. Maybe Rachel had mentioned Vancouver and I'd misheard Spokane. But I knew I hadn't misheard. I remembered the conversation clearly. She'd said Spokane. She'd said Kelly. She'd said divorce and kids and packing. I called Kelly. We weren't super close, but we were friendly enough. She answered on the 3rd ring, sounded surprised to hear from me. I asked how she was doing, how the kids were. She said they were okay, things were hard, but they were managing. I said I'd heard from Rachel that she'd been out there a couple weeks ago helping out. There was a pause. Then Kelly said, Rachel was here? When? My stomach dropped. Early March. That weekend of the 7th. No, Kelly said slowly. I haven't seen Rachel since Christmas. She didn't come out here. I thanked her, said I must have gotten my dates mixed up, and hung up. I sat there for a long time. The Thai food was getting cold. I wasn't hungry anymore. I went upstairs to our bedroom. Rachel kept her laptop on a desk in the corner. I'd never gone through it before. We'd always had a policy of privacy, trust, not snooping. But I was past that now. I opened it. No password on the home screen, just straight to her desktop. I opened her email. I didn't have to look far. The inbox had a folder labeled Trip. I clicked it. There were confirmation emails from the Fairmont. A rental car reservation from the Vancouver airport. Dinner reservations at a restaurant I'd never heard of. And messages. Lots of messages. Back and forth with someone named Andrew. I started reading. My hands were shaking. The messages went back months. October, November, December. They started professional. Andrew worked for one of Rachel's clients, some tech company based in Seattle with offices in Vancouver. Then they got friendlier. Then they got flirtier. By January, they were talking about how hard it was to keep their hands off each other during meetings. By February, they were planning the Vancouver trip. I read every single message. It took me over an hour. Andrew was 42, divorced, no kids. He traveled a lot for work. He'd told Rachel she was the most interesting woman he'd met in years. Rachel had told him she'd never felt this way about anyone. That what she had with me was comfortable, but not passionate. That she was starting to wonder if she'd said yes to my proposal because it was the logical next step and not because she actually wanted to marry me. That one hit like a punch. I sat back in the chair. 3.5 years. A house. A wedding in 3 months. And she was wondering if she actually wanted to marry me. I closed the laptop. Went back downstairs. It was almost 9:30. Rachel would be home soon if she'd been telling the truth about tonight. I sat on the couch and waited. She came in at 9:45. Looked tired, kicked off her heels, dropped her bag by the door. "Hey," she said. "You still up?" "Yeah," I said. She went to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of water, came back and sat on the other end of the couch. "Long day," she said. "This client is going to be the death of me." I looked at her. "Which client?" "Hartman Tech. I told you about them." I nodded. "Hartman Tech. The company Andrew worked for. How'd the meeting go?" "Fine. Good, actually. I think we're close to closing the deal." "That's great," I said. My voice sounded normal. I was surprised by that. "Hey, I was going through the credit card statement today. Saw a charge from Vancouver." She went very still. Then she took a sip of water. "Vancouver?" "Yeah. The Fairmont. Early March. $463. She set the glass down carefully. "Oh, right. That was a work thing." "A work thing?" "Yeah. Last-minute trip. Hartman wanted to meet at their Vancouver office. I had to fly up for a couple days." I nodded slowly. "You didn't mention it." "Didn't I? I thought I did. It was pretty quick, in and out. You told me you were in Spokane that weekend. Helping Kelly." Her face changed. Just slightly, but I saw it. "No, that was a different weekend. I just talked to Kelly," I said. "She hasn't seen you since Christmas." Rachel stared at me. The room was very quiet. I could hear the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. "You called my sister?" Her voice was different now. Harder. "I did." "Why would you do that?" "Because you lied to me." I wanted to know why. She stood up. "I can't believe you're checking up on me. Going through the credit card statement, calling my family. That's controlling." I stayed sitting. Kept my voice level. "I saw a charge that didn't make sense. You told me you were one place, and you were actually somewhere else. That's not controlling. That's noticing. So you immediately assumed the worst and start interrogating people?" I asked a question. "You lied. I found out. Now I'm asking again. Why were you in Vancouver?" She crossed her arms. "I told you. Work. Was Andrew there?" The color drained from her face. "What? Andrew? From Hartman Tech, was he there?" She didn't answer. Just stared at me. I stood up. "I read the emails, Rachel. All of them." She sat back down. Put her face in her hands. We stayed like that for a while. When she finally looked up, her eyes were red. "It's not what you think," she said. "It's exactly what I think." "No. It's complicated." "It's really not. You've been having an affair. You lied about where you were. You spent a weekend in Vancouver with him. What part of that is complicated?" "I haven't been having an affair," she said. Her voice was rising. "We haven't slept together." I almost laughed. "You spent a weekend with him in a hotel. We talked. We just talked. You're going to stand there and tell me you shared a hotel room with a man you've been sending love letters to for months, and all you did was talk." "We had separate rooms," she said quickly. I pulled out my phone. Opened the email I'd screenshotted. "Read it out loud." "I can't wait to wake up next to you." That's from you to him, February 28th. 2 weeks before Vancouver. She started crying. Okay. Yes. We slept together. Once. Just that weekend. It was a mistake. A mistake. Yes. I love you. I want to marry you. Andrew is just, he was a distraction. It didn't mean anything. I walked to the closet by the front door. Pulled out my jacket. "I'm leaving." She jumped up. "Where are you going?" "I don't know. Hotel, maybe." "I need to think." "Please don't go. We can work through this." I turned around. "Work through what exactly?" "You've been lying to me for months. You told him you weren't sure you wanted to marry me. You slept with him. What exactly is there to work through?" "I was confused," she said. "I got scared." Wedding planning is stressful, and Andrew was paying attention to me, and I made a terrible choice. But I know now that I want you. I want our life. You want our life? I repeated. The house. The wedding. The plan. But do you want me? She didn't answer fast enough. I put on my jacket. I'll be back tomorrow to get some things. We need to figure out what to do about the house and the wedding. The wedding, she said faintly. We're not getting married, Rachel. Yes, we are. We can fix this. Couples go through this. We can go to counseling. I opened the door. I'm not going to counseling with someone who lied to my face 30 seconds ago and only admitted the truth when I proved I already knew it. I'll call you tomorrow. I drove to a Hampton Inn near the airport, checked in, sat on the bed, and started making a list on my phone. Wedding venue, cancel. Caterer, cancel. Photographer, cancel. Band, cancel. My parents had paid for half the wedding. I need to tell them. Rachel's parents had paid for the other half. She need to tell them. The house was going to be Messier. Joint mortgage, both our names. We'd either have to sell or one of us would have to buy the other out. I opened my laptop and started going through our finances. We had the joint credit card, the joint checking account for house expenses, but our savings and retirement accounts were separate. That was good. Less to untangle. The house was worth about $400,000. We'd put down 80. Owed $320. If we sold, we'd probably clear about 60 after fees and closing costs. 30 each. The wedding was the more immediate problem. I pulled up the contracts. The venue required 90 days notice for a full refund, minus a $500 cancellation fee. We were inside 90 days. We'd lose the $10,000 deposit. The caterer had a similar policy. Another $8,000 gone. The photographer was more flexible. 60 days notice. We'd lose half the deposit. $2,000. The band would refund everything except $500 if we canceled more than 30 days out. We were 42 days from the wedding. I did the math. If we canceled everything tomorrow, we'd lose about $25,000 total. My parents had contributed $15,000. Rachel's parents had contributed $10,000. They'd lose everything. We'd lose nothing beyond the emotional damage, which was already done. I called my dad. It was almost midnight, but he was still up, watching the news. I told him everything. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, Dad. I'm sure. We'll get through it," he said. "Don't worry about the money. We'll handle it." I called the venue first thing Friday morning, explained the situation, asked what my options were. The events coordinator was sympathetic but firm. Inside 90 days, the deposit was non-refundable. I thanked her and moved on to the caterer. Same story. The photographer was kinder. She offered to refund 3/4 of the deposit as a goodwill gesture since we were being proactive. I accepted. The band agreed to refund half. By noon, I'd canceled everything I could cancel. Total loss, about $22,000. I felt sick about it, but there was no other option. I wasn't going to stand at an altar with someone who'd been sleeping with someone else. Rachel called me 6 times that morning. I didn't answer. Finally, she texted, "Please just talk to me. We need to discuss this like adults." I texted back, "I've canceled the wedding. We need to figure out the house. Are you willing to sell, or do you want to buy me out?" She called immediately. I answered, "You canceled the wedding?" Her voice was shaking. "Yes." Without talking to me. "There's nothing to talk about. We're not getting married. You can't just make that decision alone." "I can actually." And I did. She was crying now. "This is insane. You're throwing away everything because of one mistake." "It wasn't one mistake, Rachel. It was months of lying. It was a whole relationship you built with someone else while you were planning a wedding with me." "I ended it," she said. "I told Andrew it was over. I chose you. When? Last week." I laughed. It sounded mean even to me. "Last week. So after the Vancouver trip. After you slept with him. After you came home and kept planning our wedding like nothing happened. I was trying to fix it. I was trying to do the right thing. The right thing would have been not to sleep with him in the first place. Or to tell me the truth when I asked you Thursday night. Or literally any point before I had to find out by reading your emails." She was silent. "I'm going to the house this afternoon to pack some things," I said. "I'd appreciate it if you're not there. It's my house too." "I know. That's why we need to figure out what to do with it. But I can't be around you right now. Please just give me a few hours." She hung up. I went to the house at 3. Her car wasn't in the driveway. I let myself in, went upstairs, started packing. Clothes, toiletries, my laptop, some books. I took my grandmother's quilt from the bed, a photo of my parents from the dresser, the watch my brother gave me for my 30th birthday. I left everything that was ours together, the dishes we'd picked out, the furniture we'd bought, the art on the walls. I was loading boxes into my car when a silver Audi pulled up. Not Rachel's car. A man got out. Mid-40s, expensive suit, confident walk. "Andrew, you must be the fiancé," he said. I stopped, put down the box I was holding. "And you must be the guy who sleeps with other people's fiancés." He had the decency to look uncomfortable. "Look, I came to apologize. Rachel told me what happened. I feel terrible." "You feel terrible." "I do. I never meant for any of this to happen. Rachel and I just connected, and things got out of hand." I stepped closer to him, kept my voice calm. "Let me make something very clear. I don't care how you feel. I don't care about your apology. And if you ever come to my house again, I'm calling the police. Are we clear?" He blinked. "I just wanted to. Are we clear?" He backed up a step. "Yeah, we're clear." "Good. Now get in your car and leave." He left. I finished loading my things and drove back to the hotel. Over the next week, Rachel tried everything. She sent flowers to my office. She showed up at the hotel, somehow figured out which room I was in, and knocked on the door for 20 minutes until I threatened to call security. She sent long emails explaining how sorry she was, how she'd made the worst mistake of her life, how she'd do anything to fix it. She had her mother call me. Her father, Kelly, who apologized for being dragged into the middle of it. I didn't respond to any of it. I hired a real estate lawyer to discuss the house. We had two options: sell it and split the proceeds, or one of us could buy the other out at current market value. I told the lawyer I wanted to sell. Rachel, through her own lawyer, said she wanted to keep it. Fine. We got it appraised. $410,000. She needed to refinance in her name only and pay me half the equity, which came out to about $45,000 after subtracting what we still owed on the mortgage. It took 3 weeks to finalize. Her parents helped her with the down payment for the refinance. I signed over my half of the deed, took the check, deposited it, moved into a one-bedroom apartment in St. Paul, closer to work, cheaper rent, no memories. Rachel tried to contact me twice more after the house was settled, once through a mutual friend, asking if I'd be willing to meet for coffee to get closure. I told the friend no. Once through a handwritten letter delivered to my office, 6 pages of apologies and regrets and explanations. I read the first paragraph and threw it away. 3 months later, in mid-June, right around when our wedding would have been, I ran into one of her co-workers at a Twins game. Guy named Paul, nice enough. We'd met at a couple of firm holiday parties. He looked awkward when he saw me, but came over anyway during the 7th inning stretch. "Hey man," he said. "I heard about you and Rachel." "I'm sorry." "Thanks," I said. He hesitated. "I don't know if you want to know this, but she's not doing great." I didn't say anything. "She got let go." Paul continued. "The whole thing with Andrew turned into a mess. He was married, apparently. His wife found out, threatened to sue the firm for something. I don't know the details. Rachel got caught in the middle of it, and they decided it was easier to let her go than deal with the drama." "Andrew was married," I said. "Yeah. Rachel didn't know, I guess. Or she says she didn't. Either way, it blew up pretty badly." I nodded. Didn't feel good about it. Didn't feel bad either. Just felt like someone hearing news about a stranger. It's September now. 6 months since everything fell apart. I'm doing fine. Better than fine, actually. Work's good. I got promoted to Regional Operations Director over the summer. The apartment is small, but it's mine. I've started seeing someone new, a woman named Lisa I met through a running group. We're taking it slow. No big plans yet. Just enjoying each other's company. Last week I was at the grocery store, the Lunds and Byerly's near my place, when I saw Rachel in the produce section. She looked thinner, tired. She saw me at the same time. We both stopped. For a second I thought she might come over, but she just gave me a small, sad smile and turned away. I finished my shopping and left. I think about what happened sometimes, but not the way I used to. I don't replay the conversations or wonder if I overreacted or imagined different outcomes. I just think about how I trusted myself. How when something felt wrong, I paid attention. How when someone showed me they weren't trustworthy, I believed them. How I didn't wait around hoping they'd change into someone they weren't. That's the thing about boundaries. They're not about punishing other people. They're about protecting yourself. And sometimes protecting yourself means walking away from something that looks good on paper but feels wrong in your gut. So that's where I am. 6 months out, building something new, and genuinely okay with how things turned out. Not bitter, not broken, just clear about what I will and won't accept in my life. If you've ever had to walk away from a relationship that everyone else thought you should fight for, or if you've ever chosen your self-respect over someone else's potential, I'd be interested to hear your story. Drop it in the comments. Thanks for listening.